Welcome back, everybody. Those of you with a keen ear may have noticed I am not Eric, nor am I Zac. You may know me as the third shadowy member of this podcast, often heard chiming in with a nugget or two. I'm Deric, and I've been joining these guys on here for over a year now. In fact, this week is exactly 1 year since I officially joined. You all welcomed me with open arms, and I just want to thank you for that. While these guys are out on vacation, I'm going to run an episode featuring some of you. I went back through the live chat and the comments for the last couple episodes on YouTube, and I polled anybody that I noticed that was in the comments that was also a Patreon of any level, just so that I could have contact information for them. And I excluded any previous guests to the show. Sorry, Keith, Suman. Brett, I see you in the comments section, but since I don't see a Patreon account to match up to you, I couldn't reach out, and I apologize. We do appreciate your support. And I'm sorry if you are a Patreon. I couldn't find you. Well, speaking of support, we are supported by KM Tools. And at this point in the podcast, the guys typically do an ad read. They banter back and forth and talk about KM Tools. And since I have the confidence of a teenage chihuahua, I'm going to assume that this counts as a full and regular episode, deserving of some sponsorship. KM Tools, for woodworkers by woodworkers. I've been following KM Tools for years now, as I'm sure most of you have, or Jonathan Katz Moses, as we all know and love him. Did you know that J. Katz taught Chuck Norris how to woodwork? It's a true story. So when I discovered that he not only knew everything about woodworking, but he also made his own line of tools just for woodworkers, I had to check it out. I bought myself this square from Katz Moses, probably about 6, maybe 9 months ago, and it has been instrumental in my shop. I use this thing all the time. It's a simple square, but it's very effective. I've had other squares before, but they were always either too big, or they got in the way, or they just didn't work for what I was doing. So I looked into getting one of those really expensive red ones, and then I discovered that KM Tools has this one at a fraction of the cost, and it was made by and backed by J. Katz himself. So I ordered it on the spot, and this little 5-in-1 square has been so handy for me, from finding my saw, or from squaring up my saw on the fly, to checking square during a glue up. It truly is the simple things that make life easy. I recently ordered the universal box jig, and I'm very excited to use that one. In fact, it showed up today, and I plan to start using it this next week. I've seen the setup on this jig and how it works, and J. Katz has really thought of everything on this one, and that really makes me excited to use it. I have a very special project coming up, in which case I wanted to do some finger joints, maybe some box joints of some sort, and the center box joint that he does really inspired me, so I picked it up, and I'm excited to use it. He's been developing and improving this one for years. It's finally out, and it looks like a great tool. You'll hear more from me about that later. KM Tools, if it's in their store, it's in their shop. And it's probably in my shop too. I have a few. A portion of the sales go to Katz Moses Woodworkers with Disabilities Fund, a great cause supporting woodworkers with disabilities, helping them get back in the shop and pursue their passions. KM Tools wants to help us by helping you. So if you're a Patreon, you get entered into our monthly drawing for a KM Tools gift card, courtesy of the man himself. All you have to do is sign up over at the Patreon, and then you'll be automatically entered into whenever our next drawing is. We do a drawing once a month for all of our active patrons. With that said, let's get started. You all know a lot about Eric, Zac, and even me by now. So I thought it would be a good idea to turn things around and get to know you all a little bit more. So today I will be joined by 7 of our diehard supporters as guests. And actually, it's going to be 6 because one of them may not be here, but we'll see. It may be close. He may be here. He may not be here. So 7, maybe 6. We'll see. But this might still be the single biggest podcast episode in history. I'll have to check Guinness on that, but this might be the most number of guests anybody's ever had on a podcast at one time. We'll see. Certainly more than the Green Suiters have had, but I'll try and keep the chaos contained, and I'm just going to bring them up one at a time as we get to know these individual fellows. Up first, I'm going to bring Joe Welsh. Joe, welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, we met back at Workbench Con. Hung out a lot. Got to know Joe. He's a good guy. He gave me a charger for my phone. I forgot my charger at home. Gave me a phone charger. Bought me a drink. Man, I owe you one. You ready?
I am ready. Let's go.
All right. So, are you on social media yourself? You are Delaware Valley.
Yes, I have a Instagram and a YouTube channel. Both are the Delaware Valley Workshop, or Delaware Valley Workshop in the case of YouTube. I've been doing it for Instagram for about a year and 3 months, and YouTube for about a year. My first video came out last April. I went to Workbench Con last year for the first time, and that's where I met Eric and Zac. And I had such a good time. I went this year, and I ran into them again and you, and we all hung out, and I had a great time, and it was just great being here.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I've been watching your work. You're doing some great work over there, YouTube and Instagram. Check it out. You got some good projects, some interesting things going on. What drew you into woodworking to begin with?
This is weird. So it's a 2-part thing. By trade and real job, I am an IT expert. I set up computer networks across the country. I know everything about Macs and Windows computers and Linux computers. You name it, I can either fix it, learn about it, or do anything with it in roughly 5 minutes. So I never thought I would be a woodworker. Never picked up a tool in my life. I got married in 1997, and my wife and I's first apartment, I found this magical channel called HGTV. And I watched This Old House for the very first time. Knew about it for years and years, never watched it. And it was fascinating just watching them tell us how to fix up our houses. And one guy in particular, Norm Abram, everybody knows Norm. Yep. He was great. I loved him. So also on HGTV, they were showing reruns of the New Yankee Workshop. And I tuned into one of them, and this guy in flannel picked up tools that almost anybody could use and built stuff. And he made it so simple. I'm like, hey, I can do that. And what's really funny is the very first episode I watched was a 2-parter on the sailboat. And even though the sailboat was probably one of his most complicated projects, he made it look so simple. So I started buying tools and started building some of his projects and found out that I was actually pretty good at it.
No.
So that's how I got
plans
started.
To make a sailboat yourself?
No.
All right. No sailboats in your future. Okay.
No, but I've made several of his projects, plus, a bunch of my own.
All right. And so thinking back upon those early days, what do you think what was the first tool you picked up and really started using?
The first tool I picked up and started using was a drill press and a circular saw. 2 of them. Okay. Yeah.
Went at it pretty hard. I see. Drill press and a circular saw.
I inherited it from my grandfather.
Oh, okay.
So it was already in my garage. But then I have, they just started coming out with those job site table saws, and I went to Home Depot and picked one of them up and started using that to build rudimentary products, picnic tables, patio furniture, anoretic chairs, that kind of thing. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So what project would you say has probably been the most challenging for you along your journey?
Wow. The most challenging project that I've done to date is probably, that's really hard because I do a lot of shop furniture. I've done some patio furniture. Really challenging is probably a wall mounted console that I
Okay.
made with that entertainment center that had some curves in it and you had to kerf it to make the curve around the corner and that kind of thing. So I was
Yeah.
pretty proud of that. That worked out real nice.
So wall mounted, like it's floating off the ground, or just
Yeah,
secured to the wall?
yeah. It's
Okay.
floating off the ground. Yes. So it's
All
not,
right.
no legs. It held,
Yeah.
the VCR and the Blu-ray player and the DVDs and the cable box and all that thing. So
Excellent. Yeah. So that is a challenging project for
yeah.
sure. Got a lot of things to consider there. So you say you started watching. I want to call it analog YouTube woodworkers
Yes.
over on HGTV, and I'm assuming PBS with the new Yankee Workshop and all that fun stuff.
Yep.
Growing up, my dad loved watching all those on PBS, and in fact, I have a bunch of blank cassette tapes with just old episodes recorded on them from him growing up. So yeah, I grew up kind of watching those too. But so in the YouTube and I'd say online influencer space, who would you say are some of your favorite channels to watch and follow? Who do you go to for influence?
I started with Mark Spagnola and Matt Cremona.
Okay.
When I finally discovered YouTube, I was late getting to YouTube altogether. Norm retired in 2008, and then I discovered YouTube. And Mark had already been on for almost a year and a half. I never knew about Steve Ramsey, who's another OG of YouTube for a long time. But I watched Mark and Matt, and then I started finding, other channels, found Steve Ramsey, April Wilkerson, a bunch of that. But I was really not heavily into YouTube in the first, like from 2008 to 2012, 13. I didn't realize there was a whole working thing going on out there. I was upset that Norm retired and never actually knew about YouTube until my oldest son was a teenager and he started watching YouTube and he told me about it. And I'm like, oh, check it out. And that's how I found out about it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Lots of good folks to watch out there. So would I be correct in assuming then that your biggest personal influence along your journey was Norm there?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, he's the one I consider him my mentor, even though I've never spoke to him in person. But he really got me started, and I know everything that you can know publicly without being a stalker about him. And yeah, I would say he's my biggest influence. Now being my own creator, there's a bunch of new influences. Several of your guest stars from the past. Suman, Scotty Walsh. John at Lincoln Street.
Oh yeah, all good ones.
Keith Johnson, Jason Hibbs. I watch them all regularly, and I'm inspired by all of them, and I learn something new every time they put something out.
Oh yeah, very. Mentors come in all shapes, sizes, and distances. So, other than woodworking, what hobbies do you enjoy?
Well, I know this is a audio podcast sometimes, but I'm also into comic books. I'm from the 80s. I'm a little older than most of the woodworkers on YouTube now, but I grew up in the 80s, so I like the Marvel Universe, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Superman. I'm a Star Wars fan and a Star Trek fan, so I have collectibles of all sorts. The first thing that caught my eye on your poster was the Amazing Fantasy 15 on your back wall there.
Yeah.
So I like science fiction and I like IT and computers. So,
yeah, I mean, man after my own heart. I can't blame you there. I've always wondered. We do the beer or the bring your own camera, and I'll see your background there, and you got the comics up there. Which one is your favorite that you got postered up there on your wall back there?
Oh, up there on my favorite. Everybody doesn't see me turn around. Oh boy,
that's a hard one.
That's really tough. But I really
got a few up there.
Yeah, you can't. I can turn the camera up a little bit. I got quite a bit. My favorite, though, I think, are the Supermans that were done by John Byrne on the bottom row there.
All right.
He redid Superman in 1986, I believe, and I just loved his take on it. And that's what I have up there in the bottom row, all of the original ones that he put out.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think we got to know you pretty good, Joe. We're going to do a one last thing. We're going to do a rapid fire Q&A. I'm going to shoot some yes, no, and or questions at you, and there'll be a twist on the last one. So if it throws you off, that's fine.
Hopefully it's not from my wife.
But we'll do that, and then we'll let you go. So here we go.
Okay.
Rapid fire Q&A. Metric or imperial?
Imperial.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night owl.
You can only use one for the rest of your life. Screws or nails?
Screws.
If you could have any one new tool, what would it be?
Saw stopped. PCS.
What's the furthest you've ever traveled?
Manitoba, Canada.
All right. And, okay, who wins in a fight? The original RoboCop or the Terminator T-800?
Oh, Terminator all day long.
If you had to use one of these, only one of these, to make everything for the rest of your life, not including basic hand tools for assembly purposes, which would you rather it be? A top-of-the-line 3D printer or a top-of-the-line CNC?
Top of the line CNC.
All right. Favorite snack food?
Fried chicken.
That's good snack food. Planes, trains, or automobiles? How do you prefer to travel?
I train most of every day daily to my job, but I do like flying the best.
All right. And last, what is the most interesting fact you know?
That you can't build the this isn't a Carl Sagan quote. You can't make an apple pie from scratch unless you invent the universe.
All right. That's a good one. I like it. All right. And before we let you go, do you want to plug your socials? I think you did in the beginning. But
again, I'm on Instagram at the Delaware Valley Workshop and YouTube at the Delaware Valley Workshop. You should be able to find me. So
excellent. All right, Joel, it was good to have you. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me. Have a good time.
See you in the comment section.
All right.
All right. Later. All right. Next up, I'm going to bring Mr. Gary Furness, a.k.a. Hythe Woodworkings. Did I get that correct? Oh, I think you're still muted. Give me a second. There you go.
Hythe Woodwork Designs. Yeah.
Hythe Woodwork Designs. All right. Hi. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. So, where exactly are you from?
From the UK, based on the south coast of England, in the county of Kent.
Okay.
So if anyone near, so if you take, everybody knows what the UK looks like. Well, they should do.
Yeah.
So you take London and you just literally go southeast, and I'm there right on the bottom coast near Dover. Right. If you just type in Dover, UK, it's within that vicinity. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, I knew you were over there somewhere. I just didn't know exactly where you were. That answers that. All right. Welcome. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us maybe where we could find you if you're online, if you want to be found online.
The only place I'm on is Instagram. I don't know what's happening over the last literally month. I've got a very, very small following. It only started off with a few followers, and then suddenly in the last 3, 4, 5 months, I've just hit close to about 700, and I'm thinking, how, why, what am I doing? And I'm just getting, I get action blocked by Instagram pretty much twice a week now. I don't know what is going on.
Wow.
Something's happening. So, because I'm following back on people, and they're saying you can't do this, and I'm thinking, well, why? I mean, they're following me. Why can't I follow them? I look at their pages. I look at what they've got to offer, and if I like it, then I'll follow them. But for some reason, it's just they keep blocking me, and it's becoming frustrating. But hey, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, that is the way it goes. I bet it might have something to do with this podcasting feud you're stuck in the middle of. You seem to be between us and the green suitors here.
I refuse point blank to diss the Green Suitors podcast. I mean, I've been with them since day one. And I don't know how I managed to get hold of or get to know Jason. I think it was probably from one of my friends in the UK, Peter Millard, who lives in London, and he suggested Jason Bent's Woodworking and More, his YouTube channel, and I just liked what he does, and
Yeah.
I love his family, and I've seen Leo grow up from literally a toddler to,
Yeah.
and now Max as well. So yeah, I love watching what he does. I follow his stories, and I've been a patron for quite some time. So yeah.
All right.
Anyhow.
So tell us about your woodworking journey. What initially brought you into the craft?
What drew me into woodworking? Okay, I don't really know how to answer that. I've always loved DIY,
Yeah.
and I've never actually. I've tinkered with electrics. Well, I'm an electrical engineer, is what I studied when I was over in Cyprus. But woodworking, I never did anything to do with woodworking until I really got back over here. So I would say the last 5 or 6 years, uh, probably maybe a bit longer than that. We bought a brand spanking new house, so there are no wardrobes, no furniture. Well, there's furniture, our own furniture, but no wardrobes to hang anything
Yeah.
up. So I thought, okay, I'll build a wardrobe top floor, see how it goes, and we'll go from there. My wife liked it and said, okay, that's rather good. Make another one. So I did a whole bank of wardrobes that are behind me. A bank of wardrobes, no, they're just overlays, overlay doors. And then I did a weird angled one in a. It's on my Instagram page, if anybody wants to see it, they can see it. It's like a small little corner section, but it's a weird angle. And I was actually, I hate saying the word proud, but I was well happy how that turned out. And it was just a basic framework. Slide it in, put it down, screwed it all into the studs. Built a couple of doors, put an MDF sheet on the carpet on the inside. I didn't build a whole frame. It wasn't really necessary because I would have lost, I would say, 25, 35 mil on each side and the top. So I needed as much space as possible. So I just built the front frame only, 2 doors, and all of our Christmas stuff goes in there. Everything goes in.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
now I'm on the bandwagon of cutting boards, charcuterie boards, and now I just bought myself. What did I buy in November? An X2 X-Tool P2 laser, and I tell you something, I haven't stopped using that damn thing pretty much every day. It is brilliant. Best thing,
Lots of fun.
purchase I've ever made. Oh god, yeah, brilliant.
Oh yeah.
And if I do swear, I apologise.
No, it's fine. That's what we're here for. Just being ourselves. All right. So that's it's no linear journey for any of us. I don't believe.
No.
I don't believe anybody picks up a tool one day and just instantly
No.
decides to go for it. It's something that you come to at several points in your life until it sticks, or it doesn't. And I think for all of us here, it's stuck. So, well, we know what drew you into woodworking. What's probably what interests or excites you the most whenever you're starting a new project? What inspires a new project the most? That you think you'd say?
Okay, the first thing I have to do. You see, in the States, you guys call it a shop. We call a shop in a high street or in a mall. That's what we call a shop. Over here, we call it a work. Yeah, over here we call it a workshop, which is a shortened version of, and a longer version of your word of shop. So I will call it a workshop for clarity, if that's okay with you guys. Keeping it tidy, because I only have a small 6 foot by 12 foot shed, I suppose, in our back garden. That's all I have to work with. I've got a 2.4 meter by 70 centimeter I don't know what that is in feet, so please excuse me. In the quickfire, it's metric. So forget imperial.
I assumed.
It's an assembly table with 2 MFT style tops. I've got bench dogs, rails, guide rails. What else have I got? Laser print, not a 3D printer, laser. Everything, mainly all benchtop stuff, and everything has to be stacked and put away. So once I finish using the Festool miter saw, I have to put that away to get something else out, put that on the bench. If I'm going to be jointing stuff, then once I finish that, put that down, get the planer out, planer thicknesser. I don't know what you call the planer. What do you call the planer? Is that the one that goes over the top or the underneath?
We call the it's a funny thing. It's called the plane. So the planer is the one that's got the knives, and you run the board over the top of it, and then that gives you the jointed edge.
You're right. We call that. Okay,
but some
so what's
people
a
call it a jointer. But a lot of people
okay.
call that a jointer. But I believe it's technically a planer.
It is. That's what we call
Yeah, and then
the other one, the underneath one, is the thicknesser, which is the thickness section. Yeah. So because I don't have a combo, I have to put one away, then get the other one out. But I also use the large MFT, which is perfectly straight, and I use linear rails, and I've got a flattening sled. So if I'm doing cherry, walnut, maple, ash, whatever it may be, pardon me, I put that on there, secure it down, flatten it one side, and then throw it straight through the thicknesser. Get to not to the final thickness, because you've got to sand and all the other bits and pieces afterwards. Yeah. And then I just do whatever I want. But keeping that shop tidy really is a project itself, because it's so small and you are limited as to, unlike you guys over in the States where you have 1, 2, 3 car garages, you can spread things out and go from one place to a next, and you can get your job done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, over here, it's not that easy. You've got to...
Space is a commodity.
Oh, yeah. You could do one thing, put it away, clean it up, get the next thing out, continue with the journey, put it away, next thing. It takes 3 to 4 times longer to do what you do over there.
Yeah. Well, I can commiserate a little bit. My first shop was a closet in the back of our house that was about maybe 4 feet wide by 12 feet deep. And anytime I wanted to use it was purely for storage. So if I wanted to do any work, I'd have to bring it out of that closet under the covered, the car cover, move the cars and then go underneath the carport cover and work. So, and then bring everything back in every time I wanted to work on something. So I can relate to having a small shop.
I used to have the space because on the workbench itself, I would have 2 large boards that would drop down, and I would hinge them up, support them underneath, and I would get 8x4 sheets, put them on, lift them up, then lift up the flaps, and I could cut, not a problem. Now I don't have the room for that because I have wood storage behind me. So I've got no room to move. So now I've got insulation boards. This is going to take longer than everybody else's. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I've got insulation boards, which I put outside on the patio. I drop the sheets down there, and I cut them with the track saw, and then I go inside and put it on the workbench, and I use the bench. What do you call it? The track saw to cut to final size.
Yeah,
whatever it is I'm cutting.
Right.
But if I can, then I'll go to what we don't call them the big box stores, but you guys do. The similar version over here. If I get the opportunity to cut there, I will take the track saw and the insulation boards there, cut them so I can get them into the car. Because I cannot fit a full sheet of ply, MDF, or anything like that on the car.
Oh, yeah, I imagine.
It's just not possible.
Or in the garage.
Or in the garage. Well, we don't even have a garage, just a shed. So, but yeah.
Shed, yeah.
So I will cut. Yeah, I will cut it there, put it into the car, and then bring it home. but I have to do that slowly, and you'll find out in a later question why.
All right. Well, I was going to just throw one more at you and then go into the
Mhm.
rapid fire. But if you want to go ahead and address whatever question that came out of, maybe, and then we'll
Okay.
go to rapid fire.
Yeah. Okay. So I have kept everybody in. Uh, okay. I have degenerative disc disease,
Okay.
which means my discs are prolapsing because my vertebrae is crumbling.
Okay.
This was caused by, you don't do this sport over in the US. We call it cricket. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah.
The Australians play it, South Africans, it's all over the world.
Yeah. It's a little
I
mallet
started playing.
and you swing it bend down low and hit the ball.
No, the mallet is croquet.
Croquet. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. It's like a paddle. Yeah.
Yes, it's a cricket. So yeah, if you quickly Google cricket, you'll understand. And I don't mean the computer machine either.
Yeah.
It's when it's basically similar to baseball, but they don't throw the ball; they bowl the ball.
Yeah.
And I used to be a medium pace bowler or pitcher, but it's very difficult to explain, but when you follow through, you get so much pressure on your feet that it transfers into your spine, into your back, and it causes issues in later life. Obviously,
Oh, okay.
growing up in the 60s and 70s, I never knew this. So, and our teachers didn't know this either. But now, obviously, the laws state that any person under the age of, say, 15 or 16 can only bowl or pitch a certain amount in a period of time, so they don't overexert themselves or cause themselves a personal injury.
Wow.
So I've got, my spine is literally crumbling. So I have a walking stick and I have to hobble around. So picking things up is very, very difficult, because if it's too heavy, more than say 20 kilos, I have no idea what that is in pounds. If I prolapse a disc, that's it. I'm floored for weeks.
Oh, wow.
So I have to be very, very careful as to what I do. Sometimes my wife has to help me lift things up onto the bench. I've just got to be very careful. But yeah, I took all your question things and I wrote all my answers. I mean, projects like Lightburn and SketchUp and VCarve, and who are my personal influence in my journey. Norm Abram, like the other guy said, Paul Sellers.
I wish we had time to go through it all with
I
you.
know you haven't, so let's go. Let's do rapid fire. Go on.
Rapid fire. All right. Well, here we go. Metric or imperial?
Oh, metric, without a doubt.
I figured. You're a morning person or a night owl?
Morning. I get up at stupid o'clock.
You can only use one for the rest of your life, screws or nails.
Screws.
You can have any one new tool. What would it be?
Oh, you bugger. Laguna BX18 bandsaw.
Oh, all right. What's the furthest you've ever traveled?
Oh, South Africa, I think. From the
All
UK. I'm hitting you guys in September for Green Suiters Con.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's about South Africa. I've been to the States a few times, New York, and loved it. And as soon as I could move out there, I would, but I can't.
All right. Original RoboCop or T-800? Who wins in a fight?
T-800.
800. If you had to use only one of these for the rest of your life to make everything, not including basic hand tools for assembly purposes, would it be a top of the line 3D printer or a top of the line CNC?
CNC. It's got to be the Onefinity for me.
All right. Favorite.
Basically, I'm trying to get them. When I was at Maker Central, I'm trying to get them to send me one.
Just say it as much as you can, right?
Yeah. Snack. Similar to the other guy, I would say hot wings. Really spicy hot wings. I love hot wings.
Yeah. All right. Do you prefer to travel by plane, train, or automobile?
Car.
All right. And what's the most interesting fact you know?
Be patient. Life is a journey to be taken one step at a time, and keep your blade sharp. I don't know. I don't know any other facts, and just
That'll work. Whatever comes to mind, right?
Make metric great again. Yes.
The make metric great again. I like that. All right, Gary. It's been a blast having you on. We'll
Thank
try
you.
and talk the guys into having you back on sometime. We can hear the rest of those
Oh,
stories.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, hang out and enjoy the rest, and we'll see you
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Later. All right. That was Gary Furness, aka Hythe Woodworking Design. You may have, or Woodworks Design, sorry. You may have seen him in the comments like a few of these other guys here. Let's see. We have not had our seventh man enter back in, but I think in the comments section I saw he's about to get on a plane, so that's probably not going to happen. Well, I will. Right now, we're going to run an interview that I did yesterday with Corey Duvall, who couldn't make it here due to some scheduling conflicts. So I was able to pre-record his session, and I'll play that for you now. Next up, I have Corey Duvall. Corey Duvall, you are, you're a apiary, a scuba diver, woodworker, and a ballroom dancer. Is that correct?
Yeah, you got all of them.
All right. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into woodworking to start?
Well, when I was a kid, I did some projects through 4-H with my dad and my grandpa, and then another project I remember doing with my dad was in 6th grade. We made a catapult for my medieval class project.
That's fun.
And then a little bit later, when I was a teenager, we built a desk. It wasn't anything special, but it was pretty sturdy. It was probably like 5 or 6 feet long, feet wide. Yeah,
good size.
Yeah. And then I didn't do anything. I went off to college and traveled around Ohio pretty much. And then we bought my wife and I bought a house in 2020, and I was looking for something else to do and decided to pick woodworking back up. And
there you go.
There we go.
Here we are.
Yeah.
All right. And so it looks like you do a lot of, recently CNC work. Is that where you're focusing?
Trying to. Last year, purchased a CNC and got some projects done, and then it's been kind of sitting idle for a little bit because of life events and bees.
And bees. Yeah, it seems like it's a busy time of year for everybody, but is this a busy time of year for the bees?
Yeah, so this is coming out of winter. You either have to make splits or deal with the swarms, and I didn't have the equipment ready to make the splits, so I dealt with swarms instead. So swarm season in Ohio came early this year.
All right.
Probably 2 to 3 weeks earlier than last year.
Expected.
Yeah.
Is that the unusually warm weather bringing that on?
Yep.
All right. And so ballroom dancer, where does that come from?
Yeah, so that was my, I'll call that the first expensive hobby I picked up. I started that in I think it was 2012, and just looking for something to do and started that. Yeah.
Expensive hobby. It's just it's just you. How's it expensive? Shoes or clothes or what?
Everything. Shoes, clothes, lessons, more lessons.
Oh, lessons. Yes. Paying for other people's knowledge.
Yeah. And then did a couple of competitions too. So all that adds up.
All right. Now, keeping up with it in it all, in the shop, waiting for the CNC to finish up.
So the ballroom dancing's kind of taken a sidestep to everything else.
Then I know you and Eric like to talk scuba on occasion, so I'm assuming you're still pretty active in that.
Yeah, so I'm a certified dive master through PADI. I do help the instructors teach the students and help supervise them while they're in the water. Just, make sure they're not doing anything stupid.
Yeah.
Give them as many pointers as I can.
Keep everybody corralled and together, huh?
Yeah. So we're getting into that season to get new divers certified. So
Right.
I'll be starting to go up to the quarry, helping out where I can.
Diving out there.
Yep.
Yeah, they were. I think I heard you talking with Eric. Y'all got some interesting stuff out there in the quarry, don't you?
Yeah, there's a couple buses. There's a plane, a helicopter, several boats and cars and trucks.
Interesting.
Yeah,
just all decommissioned stuff they just drop out there to let y'all dive through, huh?
Yep.
That's cool. So, what pays the bills? What do you do for your day job?
So the day job, I am in IT. I'm a network engineer.
All right.
So
excellent. That's I know I went to school initially for software development, so I got a little understanding of it, but I know that's like a whole nother animal whenever it comes to software side of things.
Yeah, I'm on the
ever changing
side of things. So.
Oh, okay. So building up the towers and racks and all that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I started the career as a generalist. So I like to say if it plugged into the wall, I was probably responsible for it. And then as I've grown my career, I've kind of specialized in networking and some VoIP solutions.
Okay. Well, that's fun. And so shifting gears back to the woodworking, what kind of projects interest or excite you, get you motivated out in the shop?
So definitely want to do more with CNC.
All right.
And I wouldn't mind doing some more bandsaw projects. So two of my big purchases last year were the CNC and the bandsaw.
Okay. What would you like to do? How would you like to use the bandsaw more?
I'd like to start doing more like bandsaw boxes.
Oh, okay.
I think you can get pretty creative with those.
Yeah. All right. Well, looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Maybe someday.
So, in your personal journey, what's probably one of the who's probably been one of the biggest influences in your woodworking journey, as far as like inspired you the most or taught you the most? Or
yeah, that's a loaded question. There's so many people out there.
There could be a couple.
Yeah, I mean, I initially started watching a lot of Steve Ramsey's videos.
Okay.
I signed up for his intro class. I built the
the woodworking for mere mortals.
Yeah, and I built the workbench because I didn't have any workbench in my shop here, and then
great start.
It was 2020, so the price of lumber skyrocketed, and I was like, I'll just kind of hold off on the projects.
Yeah,
and just try to watch as many videos as I could, do little projects here and there.
All right. Yeah, I think a lot of us started with Steve, or
that's
right thereabouts.
Starting point. He really breaks things down.
Yeah,
but other people I like to watch besides Eric and Zac, of course, or Brad from Fix This Build That.
Okay,
Christy for Oak Hill Millworks.
Yeah.
There's I don't know if you've ever heard of Stud Pack. They're father and son. They do home remodels. They're down in Houston now. They're building a house. So that's been entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I watched a couple of their cabinet and crown videos. They got some good points on things.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. What project would you say, if you can recall one, maybe taught you the most in terms of like lessons to learn during making something?
Oh, that's probably the chicken coop and run that I had to build for my wife. So she wanted chickens. I didn't really want chickens, so we compromised and we got chickens. So I've never done any sort of framing or anything like that before, and so that was so everything was built from scratch and ground up.
Figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, so she found some plans for the chicken coop, which I followed mostly. Made some modifications here and there, and then the chicken run. She wanted something that was completely covered and secured because we've got coyote and raccoons and skunk around us. So
I go after them tiny dinosaurs.
Yeah, they sure do. So figuring the run out was challenging, just because it was something I had to bolt on to the chicken coop.
Oh yeah. Give them space, but not too much space.
Yeah, more framing. Had to dig a lot of post holes, and this part of Ohio, I have like 3 inches of topsoil, and the rest is clay. So you have to go down 32 to 36 inches to get to below the frost line.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of digging.
Year. Yeah, that clay is no joke. That's all we got around here is just a bunch of clay, and it's
I mean, I probably could make pottery out of my yard if I wanted to.
All right. Well, I think we got just one more question here. Let's see here. What's the first tool you remember using pretty regularly?
Oh, like outside of a drill?
I guess it could have been a drill, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, drill is the starter tool for everything. You have to hang something up. Yeah, so we got that, I guess. But I think the most used tool that I've got now is the miter saw. And that's probably just because of the type of projects I've been doing, the chickens, and then I've made some like garden planters, so that's just easy chops there.
Yeah.
I just finished up a kind of a wash station and garden station for outside. I just did that this weekend, so that's
all right. Yeah, you gotta all that clay. You're gonna need something to wash it off with, right?
Some way pretty much
clean. But all right. Well, let's do a quick rapid fire round. I'm just going to throw a couple of yes, nos, either ors at you, and just try answer them with whatever comes to mind first. There are no wrong answers. So whenever you're ready, we'll go.
Let's go.
Ready? Here we go. All right. Rapid fire Q&A. Metric or imperial?
Imperial.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night owl.
You can only use one for the rest of your life. Screws or nails?
Oh, probably screws.
All right. You can have one new tool. What would it be?
New table saw.
What's the furthest you've ever traveled?
I've been to Thailand. That's probably the furthest.
And who wins in a fight, RoboCop or Terminator?
Which Terminator?
There you go. That's a good twist. Any one of them.
Oh man. Well, I think
we say classic T800.
I think RoboCop could take classic.
All right. And you can only have one. Would you want a 3D printer or a CNC to make everything with? I think I know the answer, but...
Well, I already have a CNC, so I'll take the 3D printer.
Favorite snack food?
Reese's Pieces.
Planes, trains, or automobiles?
I've never been on a train.
All right. And last but not least... What's the most interesting fact you know?
Oh, man. I can't think of anything. You got me stumped on that one.
Thought it'd be something bee related.
I mean, I guess I could throw a bee related fact out there. Basically, the worker bees of the hive, if they don't think the queen is doing a good enough job, they will kill her and raise a new one.
Oh wow, savage!
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was fun. It was good to get to know you a little bit more. Is there? Do you have any socials or anything you want to plug while we're here?
Sure. My personal is Corey Duvall. My woodworking one is Woodcrafts and Honey, and then my apiary is the Little Haven Apiary.
Excellent. All right. Well, Corey, thank you for coming on, and we'll
thanks
see
for
you
having
in the
me.
comment section.
All right, take it easy.
Take it easy.
All right, bye.
Well, all right. That was Corey Duvall. He joined me yesterday, and we did his interview. And next up, I think I'm going to pull up John from Biscuit Tree.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful.
Good. All right. So, you actually, you are the biggest online content creator in our little group here. So you may have some a little bit more to say on some of these, but I'm only going to ask a few of them, so I'm not going to go through all of them.
Sure.
It'll all be determined by how fast we get through them. So, if none of you all are familiar with John's work, you should check him out on YouTube and Instagram. Biscuit Tree Woodworks. He does some interesting stuff, some good stuff. Woodworker.
Yeah, mostly focused on
tricks and trades.
YouTube. Every once in a while, I'll put something out on Instagram, but I don't understand Instagram.
I don't think any of us do.
Different platform than what I'm used to on YouTube. So I'm all in on YouTube right now, and every once in a while I'll post some updates on Instagram.
All right, that sounds good. So, tell us about how did you get started doing woodworking?
I mean, some of my earliest memories are working outside in the shop with my dad. He was one of these people that could build or fix pretty much anything. I can remember building the shed out back behind the house with him. I grew up back in the 80s, so we did the entire, wood paneling through the entire house and the paneling and baseboards. So that really instilled in me a love for just creating and building and fixing things. So when I got married and we bought our house, I was like, all right, I need a shop. I need tools. I can start building and fixing things around the house. So that's what I did, and really went down the path of, building furniture and, cutting boards and decor for around the house, and just loved everything to do with woodworking. So just dove headfirst into that.
All right. And then, so how did the journey, or rather, how did you translate that into your YouTube career? How did that come about?
So actually, back around 2012 or so, I had planned on starting a YouTube channel. I had this idea that I was going to be the person that was just really starting out building a shop and doing, learning woodworking at that point. I ended up putting it off and never doing it. And every once in a while I would think about it again. I was like, man, I wish I would have done that. I see where people that started back then, how they have grown and what they've done. And eventually I was listening to Matt Outlaw, 731 Woodworks. And he was talking about, he was doing one of his motivational videos. He does these from time to time where he really tries to inspire people to get out and do things and take chances and take risks and do what they have been dreaming about. And he was giving one of those, and he's like, 10 years from now, you're going to look back and wish you had done the thing that you're wanting to do right now. Like,
I saw that one.
I'm doing it. So I bought a camera, set up in my shop. I was like, just the next thing that comes through my shop that I need to either build or fix or whatever, I'm going to do a video on. And I did a video on refinishing a teak shower stool. Horrible video. Don't go watch it. It is still on my channel. It's the first video I ever did, but that's where I started and just took it from there.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw, if not that same video, a similar one where he said a very similar thing. Basically, just get off your butt and get started.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's some good advice.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
would
I'm
you
so
say
glad I
he
did.
was?
I've only been in this not even 2 years yet, but
Oh,
it
okay.
has grown very quickly. I've found a lot of success, a lot of I've had a lot of help from some great creators in YouTube, talking with them, getting advice and tips, and yeah, it's been a real
Wow, that
blast.
seems to have worked. So would you say he was your most significant influence, or was there maybe somebody that was more influential?
He's the one that kicked me in the butt and got me started.
All right.
My original influence and the one that has had the most impact on the way I work and the type of style and design I like is the Wood Whisperer. So, uh,
Okay.
yeah, that was the first one I ever found was Mark Spagnolo and his cutting board video that he's so famous or infamous for, depending on how you look at it. I think he's only built one in his life, he keeps saying. But yeah, and I remember, way back then when I first wanted to start learning woodworking, I was, searching all over online. I didn't even know about YouTube back at that time, but I found one of his videos. I was like, all right, who's this goofy, looking kid with the little soul patch? But I watched the video. I was like, okay, he really knows his stuff. So I dove into his free site where he's got hundreds and hundreds of videos on there, and ended up getting engrossed into his woodworker guild. I did a lot of guild projects where I learned just almost everything I know about woodworking from going through those guild projects with him. And he was really my main influence and inspiration early on.
All right. That's that's a good one. Yeah, for sure. So looking at what you've been doing, looks like there's a lot of I don't want to say small projects, but like stuff that you would find that the people would want to buy at maker fairs. I see a lot of videos in your video lists that kind of go along that lines. I don't know if that's just what it's feeding me or if that's what most of your videos are about. But that's what I see whenever I look at it. Is that fairly accurate to say is that your videos are based around small projects?
I started out with a lot of that because I wanted to get a lot of content out as quickly as I could. So it takes a while to film a project.
Yes.
It takes a while to build one, but if you're filming it, it takes at least 4 times longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So very early on, I was like, all right, if I want this to grow, I've got to get a lot of projects out quickly, but I don't want to become the person that's building, and doing a video every single week. But for the first month or two, I think I did basically one video a week on these small projects that I could batch out really quickly, get some good tips out there, and start growing a catalog. So when someone found my channel, they would have a couple of videos to go watch. And here recently, I'm starting to expand that into much larger projects. In fact, my last video that just came out a couple of weeks ago, that project was like 7 or 8 months in the works. Of course, I paused to make a few videos in between, but overall, that project took me many months to build this large cherry dresser that I completely designed myself, and built it in between, trying to make a few more videos and a couple other projects along the way. But yeah, I'd like to get into more of the larger projects and teaching people a slightly more advanced tips. I'm not targeting like your true
beginner DIY,
like Steve Ramsey, woodworking for mere mortals. When people start there and they learn the very basics before they jump to hand cutting all of their dovetails and through tenons and things like that, there's not a lot of room in between, I find. So that's the space that I'm trying to fill, is once you're ready to move beyond the very basic beginner, but before you get into more advanced projects, that's the space I'm trying to fill.
All right. Yeah, that's smart. And identifying an audience and going for them. Mm-hmm. You can't beat that. Yeah. So in terms of, well, I don't know. I guess there's like kind of 2 ways we could look at this question. Either in terms of growing your audience or growing your skill set? What would you say was the project that you learned the most from?
I would have to say that was the Morris chair that I did a few years ago.
Okay.
Chairs are complicated projects and can be very difficult because nothing is truly square.
Yeah.
Everything is basically at some sort of angle and intersects other parts. But especially with this Morris chair, and this was a Wood Whisperer Guild project, so I had some help along the way. I wasn't going into it blind, but I knew it was very advanced for where I was at the time. And this was almost 10 years ago or so now. But it involved a lot of bent lamination for the arms. The arms are curved bent laminations. The back slats are all curved bent laminations. The front legs have a through tenon into the arms. So there was a lot of complex joinery in that, a lot of things to figure out, building the form for the bent laminations. And that was a challenging project that really tested where I was at and gave me a lot of new skills and techniques that I use now.
All right. Yeah, I could see that. Yes, like you said, chairs, they are not in any way straight. Well, a comfortable chair has no square angles on it.
Yeah, if it's a perfectly square chair, you probably don't want to sit in it.
Yeah, you don't want to sit on that. That's right. So what projects interest you, excite you the most in terms of what you're putting out there?
Anything new. I really don't like doing the same thing over and over and over again. I loved building that Morris chair. I would not want to do another one. I did a Krenov cabinet a few years ago. Gorgeous project. Really love it. Wouldn't want to do it again. The dresser I really enjoyed. A lot of different challenges with that and designing it myself and trying to meet certain requirements that we had for where it was going to go and the amount of space that we had. Wouldn't want to build it again. So anything new and different is what I love to do. So just never the same thing over and over again.
All right. And are there any hobbies you enjoy outside of woodworking?
Yes, I probably have too many. So my biggest one is probably cooking. I actually love to cook. I really enjoy cooking. I cook 99% of the meals in our household.
Same here.
In the kitchen, on the grill, on the smoker, doesn't matter. I love to cook. In fact, I really debated for a while on whether my YouTube channel was going to be woodworking or cooking. I was almost one of those cooking channels. Outside of that, I do enjoy gaming. I play video games. I love the Final Fantasies. I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth right now. Love that. Dabble a little bit with guitar. I've done that for a couple of decades now, and I still am not very good at it. But I try.
Yeah, like I say, my wife talks to me about the cooking and stuff, and I say, it's just like woodworking, except instead of it's just different tools and different materials, but I'm basically doing the same thing. I'm shaping the food into a meal instead of shaping the wood into a table.
Putting different things together, and you have this outcome that you've created and people can enjoy.
That's right. Yeah. So, that's it's always a lot of fun. So is the YouTube, is that a full-time thing, or do you have a day job?
No, I do that. I try to squeeze in like 2 days a week is all I can really devote to YouTube. I do have a full-time job and a family. So my day job, I am a reliability engineer. So I've been doing engineering for, what are we at? Around 15 to 17 years now. So a lot of people say, ask me what type of engineering. I say reliability engineer, and they say, what in the world is that? They've never heard of reliability engineering. So it's very statistics heavy. Basically, what I do is when something fails in a plant, I work in the chemical industry. So if something fails, they call me in to analyze what happened, why did it fail, how did it fail, and how do we prevent that from happening again, not only on this specific machine or this component, but anywhere else in any of our other plants. And that's once I solved that problem, and I've solved that for many other plants as well, that can potentially save the company millions and millions of dollars.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That, I imagine there's a lot that goes into that. You got to think laterally in every direction to consider all the different angles, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I started out as a mechanical engineer and went on to get my master's in reliability engineering to do what I do now.
All right. So is that kind of your goal career, or do you see that going further into something else, or would it just be an escalated version of that?
I love doing that. I really enjoy the type of work that I do. I'm working right now to be recognized as basically a North American expert in reliability engineering. So as long as I can do that and still do the woodworking and try to make some YouTube videos in between, I think I'll be happy all around, and can still spend a little bit of time with the family and the wife and the kids. And I don't need sleep, so I'll just give up sleep, and I can do all that. I'll be happy.
We're sleeping, we're dead, right? All right. Well, I think that covers a good amount of it. We're going to launch you into the rapid fire here, and I'll let you go.
Okay.
All right. So I'm just going to go into it. Metric or imperial?
Imperial, although with the engineering, I can switch to metric when I need to.
All right. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning person, definitely. I'm usually up between 4 and 5 in the morning. I was up about 4 this morning.
Oh, wow. You can use only one of these for the rest of your life, screws or nails?
Screws.
If you could have any one new tool, what would it be?
Right now, since my shop vac is spewing out sparks and smoke, I would really love to have a new Festool extractor.
Yeah, I might recommend replacing that one soon. What's the furthest you've traveled?
Iraq twice.
Okay. And service?
Yep. Marine Corps.
Oh, well, thank you. And who wins in a fight? The original RoboCop or Terminator T-800?
T-800.
If you had to use one of these and only one of these to make everything for the rest of your life, not including basic hand tools for assembly purposes, would you rather it be a top-of-the-line 3D printer or a top-of-the-line CNC?
CNC. I've actually done some machining in my history as well. So I've done CNC programming. It was all on metal, but turning and programming on CNCs. I've done that. Yeah.
All right. And favorite snack food item?
I don't do a lot of sweets, but man, I really love chicken wings.
It seems to be the prevailing favorite here.
Yes.
Travel, planes, trains, or automobiles? What's your preferred method?
Automobiles, and I have to drive. I have to be in control.
Finally, what's the most interesting fact you know?
Yeah, that is a tough question.
Yeah.
I could go on for days about anything woodworking or YouTube statistics and analysis through engineering. I dive down into bourbons and whiskeys all the time. You name it, I probably know some bit of knowledge around it.
Well, anything you want to throw out there?
So, so back in my Marine Corps days, I worked on the M198 155 millimeter howitzer that was used through Vietnam and up into the Gulf War and the Iraq War. They actually have a rarely known about and rarely used nuclear round for the M198 howitzer. I've seen video of that being fired and tested. You basically didn't want to be around to fire that if they were firing off the nuclear round.
Really? All right. Avoid the nuclear rounds.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was great having you. It was great talking to you, getting to know you a little bit. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, man. This was awesome. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, no problem. So we can find you on Biscuitry Woodworks on
Biscuitry
YouTube?
Woodworks. I'm on mostly YouTube, but I also do have Instagram and Facebook. I post on there from time to time. But if you really want to see the latest and greatest, find me on YouTube.
Will do. All right. Thanks again. We'll see you around.
Thanks.
Later. All right. I got 2 more left, and 2 more it is. I got to make my pick. Who am I going to go with next? No, I've actually predetermined this with random selection. So next up is going to be Josh.
Oh.
Josh of Sawdust Builds. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having. I thought you were going to save the best for last, but that's all right.
Next to last. Yeah, we met out at Workbench Con as well. Whenever I met Joe, and got to hang out a little bit. It was a good meeting you, and it's good having you on here. Yeah,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So we'll get to know you a little bit. You want to tell us about what initially drew you into your woodworking journey?
I'd probably say my grandpa planted the seed, as it were. I remember being in the workshop with him down in his basement as he'd make things for my mom, but I didn't really get into it until I met my wife probably about 9-10 years ago.
Yeah.
She wanted a fire pit, and I was like, well, we need patio furniture for a fire pit. So I went on YouTube and the internet trying to find someone, and I found DIY Pete, and he had some patio furniture that looked all right, so I built it. And that's kind of got me going. He's right up there with Anna White. You know?
Oh, really? Oh, I've never heard of DIY Pete. I'm about to go check him out.
Yeah, so a lot of. He was I think he had a big old thing of Ryobi tools. I'm sure they sponsored him or something. So, but that's kind of what got me going, and then here I am doing more stuff now.
Nah. Can't beat it. Yeah. So, all right. What do you think? What inspires your projects the most? Whenever you're looking to start a new project, where do you seek your inspiration?
Other than something my wife wants to build, I don't know, probably just something that I need around the house. We needed a new dining room table, so I built that. Another DIY or Pete table. We need to do a whole thing down in the basement with the TV and everything, so I'll have to build that. So basically anything I need to build around the house that I don't want to buy, that's kind of what inspires me at this point.
All right. So who other than DIY Pete is probably one of your biggest influences on your journey?
My father-in-law influences a little bit. He's always building something, and then I'm like, yeah, I could do that, so we'll do that. But just a lot of the YouTubers I'll watch. I watch a lot of Cam at Blacktail and Jason Hibbs. He's always a good one to watch. But any of the big names on YouTube, I'm probably watching them and getting some kind of idea.
All right. And so what would you say challenged what project challenged you the most, and maybe you learned the most from?
I'd say at this point, everything I build is a challenge because I'm always trying something new. Right now I'm doing a dresser. I'd never built drawer boxes, so that was interesting to figure out. But that dining room table, I learned a lot about wood movement.
Oh.
If you look at my table now, all the seams are coming apart from wood movement.
Oh.
So I didn't know anything about it. DIY Pete did not mention wood movement in that video.
Yeah, that's not something you cover in 30 minutes usually.
Nope.
I think that's a hard lesson a lot of us learn early on is wood moves and how it moves and how much it moves and how much it doesn't move and how much we expect it to. But yeah, that's would you say that's probably your biggest tip to pass on is wood moves? Or,
yes, I would say that's definitely one of them.
All right. What's maybe the first tool you remember using? You say your grandfather maybe got you started.
A lot of it's vague. I was real young, but I remember using a biscuit joiner.
Wow. All right. What were you remember what you were making with the biscuit joiner?
I have no idea, but I do remember using it in the piece of wood.
All right. Maybe just punching holes for the hell of it.
Probably.
I know I gave my son a piece of wood and a hammer and a nail, and he just went to town putting a nail in there over and over again.
Yeah,
He loved it.
mine did the same.
Yeah. All right. And then so recently you changed your name for your online presence to this Sawdust Builds.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit, where you came from, where you went, and maybe what brought that on?
Well, I was in the military, so when I first started, I was like, oh, I came up with Freedom Workshop. But then as I started looking to try to do a website, if you type in Freedom Workshop, the first thing that comes up is financial freedom. And so coming up with a website, and then people trying to Google that later down the road, if they want, they're not gonna find me. So I went on ChatGPT and started typing in stuff, good titles for a YouTube channel that does woodworking, and eventually that formed into what I have now as Sawdust Builds.
With that unique SAU Dust Builds spelling that us in the Discord all thought was actually pretty unique and set you apart.
Yep, you can thank AI for that. They came up with it on accident, I guess. So,
that logo looks super clean, and the name, it's a great name. So,
thanks.
That was a lot of fun. And what do you do in your day job? How do you pay the bills?
I am a police officer, so that's what I do full time. And then lately, I've been doing a lot of overtime too. So I really haven't had a chance to even get out in the shop and do anything. But that's what pays the bills right now. Yeah.
All right. And is that where you like to spend the rest of your career? Is kind of moving up those ranks?
No. When I first decided to be a police officer, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go through the ranks and I'm going to get up high. But really, I just like being a patrol officer now. It's where I like to be at. It's where the fun's at. It's also where a lot of the paperwork is at. But I'll probably just stay there. I've been on 17 years. I'll probably do another 5, and then we'll see what happens from there.
All right. Let's see here. Well, we've covered most everything. What's we already know what excites you, where to find you, and what drew you in, where you're at, and you're just flying through them on me.
Yeah, I'm really straight to the point, and I don't end up adding a lot of stuff. I don't.
Yeah, don't
not
have to
much
if
of
you
a
don't
chatter
want to, right?
sometimes. Yeah,
that's all right. What are you working on? Do you have anything on the bench right now, or like you said, you haven't been able to get that very often? So, do you not have anything loaded up?
Right now, I have about 150 board feet of cherry on my bench, so it's in the way. We're gonna make my son a castle joint bed.
Oh, that'll be nice. Yeah, I love them castle joints.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. So we upgraded him to a new mattress. So right now his mattress is on the floor. So we got to build that. But I'm also doing that dresser too.
Now you say we, is your wife out there helping you out, or is that like the collective we, the married we?
I'm going to make my son help me with the bed.
Oh, there you go. That's nice. Yeah. That's a good idea. He'll have some ownership over it. I can appreciate that.
I foresee a lot of complaining.
Yeah. Well,
that's what teenagers do.
That's what they do. That's right.
Yeah.
But if he wants it, he's going to have to earn it. Right.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. Well, I'm just going to drop you right into the rapid fire and we'll let you go. We'll move on to our last guest here.
Okay.
Rapid fire, metric or imperial?
Imperial, obviously.
All right. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm a night owl. I can stay up till 6 a.m, but I don't want to get up at 6.
I hear that. All right. You can only use one for the rest of your life. Is it screws or nails?
Screws.
If you could have any new tool, what would it be?
I want that hammer joiner planer combo.
Oh, okay. And what's the furthest you've ever traveled?
Iraq.
All right. Who wins in a fight, the original RoboCop or the Terminator T-800?
Probably the Terminator.
If you had to use only one of these to make everything for the rest of your life, not including hand tools for assembly purposes, would you rather it be a top-of-the-line 3D printer or a top-of-the-line CNC?
Probably a CNC. I don't know where I'd put it, but yeah, I'll take it.
All right. Favorite snack food?
I like sweets and all baked goods, so probably pie.
Ooh, that's a good one. When you travel, do you prefer planes, trains, or automobiles?
Planes, it's faster.
All right. And last but not least, what's the most interesting fact you know or you'd like to share?
Other than don't eat the yellow snow, I'd say when you get the weather forecast and it talks about rain and it gives you the rain percentages, that percentage is the actual percentage of the area that's going to get the rain. That's not a 30% chance of rain or something like that.
Oh, that's an interesting fact for sure. Good one. All right. And any socials you want to plug before we let you go?
I'm on YouTube and Instagram. I have a TikTok, but I don't really use it. It's just Sawdust Builds. Yeah, Sawdust Builds. It's SAU Dust Builds.
All right. And it was good to have you on, and we'll see you back in the comment section.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right. Last one in my list. Maybe I'll pull them up. I don't know. Maybe I won't. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Dadu, welcome to the chat.
Thanks for choosing to actually pull me in there, Coach. I actually wanted to play. I was there going like, put me in, Coach. I can be center field.
Well, now you're up here. We got you on the show, up on the stage.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So we'll go into it and tell us what initially drew you into woodworking.
We bought a house actually in 2019, right before COVID. We moved into our house, and my girlfriend said, "Hey, I'd like some flower beds." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Everyone can make that." And I'm just going like, "How the hell do I do that?" Right? And then I just go like, "I'll just wing it," right? And so spring comes along, and I buy some wood, and that's like about 2 or 3 days before COVID really hits and everything shuts down, right? So I buy the lumber, bring it inside because that's what smart people do, right? And it just starts right off the bat. Like we said earlier, it started twisting and going each and every way. And I'm like, but the wood's cut. What's going on, right? So this is where I learned my first lesson before I even started is wood still moves. And so, yeah, we built flower beds. And after that, I just had way too much lumber. So I'm like, what now? So I'm like, I'd like to have little barbecues, So next to my barbecue, I built a little, I'll just call it a little kitchen island type of thing on wheels. And then I had some more wood and just went like, oh, do something else. And eventually I just went like, this is fun. So this is how I started. And this is addictive.
It really is.
Hey, before you move on to your next question, though, happy anniversary, brother.
Oh,
that's
thank you.
1 year, man. 1 year.
1 year on here. That's right. It's been 1 year since, officially. I mean, I think I came on a little before that and did like 1 or 2 episodes, but
yeah, something like that.
Started hanging out officially about a year ago. They didn't want to be here for the anniversary. They just left me.
I can feel that. I feel that.
So, other than, these guys here, what are some of your favorite accounts to follow online?
Well, I mean, I follow all the big ones like everyone else, right? So, the Jason Hibbs and, we can skip all of those because everyone knows those. So I thought I'd just name drop a few of the girls that shine on there on YouTube, right?
Oh,
so there's Tamar from 3x3. I really love her. There's Elena Makes, I discovered not too long ago. She does a lot of content by herself. She's rebuilding everything from her garage, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Early on with woodworking, when COVID had started, right, I had like like I said, I really liked that, and I was really into it. So I downloaded TikTok, found some people there, and one of them was Christina from 25 and Pine,
Okay.
and she's doing like amazing work right there. Mostly little tables for small houses, that kind of stuff. Like next to the couch type of thing, between seats.
Little end tables, yeah.
Yeah, end tables, right? And so those are some of those I like to follow, but all the big ones as well, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, who doesn't? Like there's definitely a core group of probably 24 I think everybody follows, or mostly follows.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, who would you say has been maybe the biggest personal influence in your woodworking journey?
Man, this is going to sound corny, but I'm going to say myself. I mean, I mean, not that I'm good or anything. I mean, I just wing it, but I mean, just the dedication and time I put into it. It's just like I started off, everyone was making fun of me, right? Like, oh yeah, okay, you're gonna do that. I'm like, I'm still going like lefty loosey, righty tighty with the screwdriver. Like, no way he's gonna build stuff. And then I build one project and another, and people are going like, oh, okay. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess I can do something. And, just from all the time I put into this, learning and trying different stuff. I mean, my biggest influence has to be myself, just for motivating myself. But there's so many people to name. I think I'd insult some people if I didn't name them, right?
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. All right. So whenever you're on social media, are you on social media as like a woodworking account, or is it like a personal account that you just happen to do woodworking on?
This is a tricky one because you know the answer already, right? Up until 2 weeks ago, it was strictly personal, and I had a few videos on my TikTok account and just had some fun with it. I don't know, 2 years ago, I think was my last post. And 2 weeks ago, I put up my first ever YouTube video and got something like 75 views on it. So I'm pretty hyped. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Rightfully so. It's an exciting time. I love that first one.
Indeed.
It's a lot of fun. All right. So what projects would you say have challenged you the most in your journey?
All of them. But I think the biggest challenge I had was actually the little kitchen island thing I did outside. I started with 2x2s for the corners and used some 1x6 that was all curved and just kept splitting on me. This is where I learned everything about wood movement, and there was pre-drilling was a big one. I was like, holy crap, I just saved a lot of wood right there when I found that out. And, the top, I put some ceramic on it and, just some tiles and some grout. And so I just tried everything I could think of and made some very bad looking pull-out drawers where, excuse me. So in there, I have space for a cooler to keep some drinks on ice. And on the other side, I got a trash bin and recycling bin. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there, that I just think, hey, why not, right? So this is, I forget the question, so I'm just rambling here.
No, that's all right. It was, what has been the most challenging, or maybe what you've learned the most from,
that was the most challenging, but also the most fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Challenges are fun, like especially whenever you can meet them and address the issues that you've come across and feel successful. It's a victory. That's definitely yeah. All right. So other than wood moves, what do you think is probably the most useful tip that you've heard that you'd like to pass on to others?
Keep going.
I like that.
I mean, actually, I'm a huge fan of any type of quotes, like motivational quotes or terrible quotes in general, and random facts. And one of the quotes I really liked was, if you fall face forward, you're still moving forward.
I like that.
So, I mean, if you fail, you just learn something that doesn't work. So just keep going and get back up, fall again.
Yeah. That reminds me of one of my favorites. That reminds me of one of my favorites. It's like you fail 1,000 times at making something. You didn't fail 1,000 times. You just learned 1,000 ways not to do the thing you were trying to do.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I can appreciate that. All right. So outside of woodworking, what are some hobbies you enjoy?
Lately, I don't think I've had many hobbies. I mean, it's mostly work, but I do enjoy a good hockey game. I mean,
Okay.
you're not seeing it at all, but like I'm talking to you right now, and I have it on mute on the other screen next to me.
Is it the Edmonton or the Montreal
no,
game?
it's Rangers and Florida.
Oh, okay.
So right now
I
it's
saw one
1-0
the other day.
for Rangers.
Yeah, I know we're in like playoffs now, aren't we?
Yeah, it's game 4, I think.
All right. And okay, so speaking of work, what do you do for a day job?
I'm a web developer, so I get up, make websites, and try not to break them. And when I get home, either I work some more, either some freelance contracts, or sometimes just try to learn something new outside of the shop as well. So I mean, it's always work or wood shop type of thing.
Well, as somebody who has a little background in software myself, I got to ask,
Yeah.
what is probably your favorite language to work within?
I don't think I can call it a favorite, but I mean, what I have to work with every day is PHP and JavaScript because most clients want a website on WordPress, right? So it's going to have to be, the basic HTML, CSS, and then throw in some JavaScript, and the whole backend is basically PHP. So, I mean, yeah, I'm going to go with those because they're the safe bets, right? But whenever I get a chance, whenever I get like 5 minutes, I like to just look at a few videos on, either C, C++, or just try to find something else, right? Just like I said, I'm a huge dork.
No, I get it. Yeah, the same way. All right. Well, I think that wraps up all of our most of our questioning. We'll kind of address most of them along the way. So I'm going to move you right into the rapid fire round and we'll get you on out of here, get you back to that game.
Fire ahead, my friend.
All right. I may know the answers to this first one. I feel like it's a little, it tells itself, but metric or imperial?
Both. See, that's different right there. See, everyone went, like on a day-to-day, I'm going to say imperial, but it all depends on context. So for example, I'm 5'9", but the post office is half a kilometer away. Or, over the weekend, temperature rose up to like 28 degrees Celsius, but the swimming pool was about 78. So, I mean, everything's just mixed up. This is the joys of being Canadian. Or Zach's not here to confirm, but it might just be Quebec in general. But we don't know what we want. It's just, everything's confusing, right? So I'm going to say both.
And you're bilingual as well, right? French and English?
Yeah, actually, my father's family is from Birmingham, so in England. Not too far away from our first guest tonight. So, our previous guest wasn't first.
All right. Well, we'll jump right back into the rapid fire now.
Yeah.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm going to say night because I don't like getting up in the morning, but I'm also in bed by 10:30. So, I mean, on weekends, I go later. So, I'm going to go with night owl.
Night owl it is. All right. You just may be on the wrong coast. That's all it is. If you could use only one of these for the rest of your life, would it be screws or nails?
Screws.
All right. If you could have any one new tool, what would it be?
See, I want to say a third hand because that would come in really handy. But I'll go with bandsaw.
Bandsaw. All right. And what's the furthest you've ever traveled?
I didn't do the math there. So, I mean, I drove all the way to Vancouver, to Vegas, and I flew to Cuba. So, I mean, Starting
I
from
think Cuba might be the furthest.
yeah, not by far, but I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't
roughly.
drive there though.
No, yeah. I hope not. Might be a little wet at some points. All right, who wins in a fight, the original RoboCop or the Terminator T-800?
RoboCop, all day,
RoboCop. All right.
all day.
If you had to use only one of these for making everything the rest of your life, not including basic hand tools for assembly purposes, would you rather it be a top-of-the-line 3D printer or a top-of-the-line CNC?
CNC.
CNC.
I
All
just
right,
got a 3D printer 2 days ago.
Favorite snack food?
Everything at the 7-Eleven.
Just all the things. And
Sweet.
how would you prefer to travel? Planes, trains, or automobiles?
Car.
Car, all right. And
I
lastly,
drive
what's
and
the
control
most-
music.
That, yeah, you got to, right? And lastly, what's the most interesting fact you know?
Like I said, man, I really like random facts, so I'm gonna go with Mona Lisa has no eyebrows.
Oh, okay.
It's
Interesting.
the first
We'll
one that
have
came to mind.
We're all going to be looking that one up later.
Yeah, and then you're gonna go,
All
what
right.
the hell?
No eyebrows. Go figure. Well, Daddy, it was great having you on, and
Thanks for having
we
me.
look forward to seeing what you have more coming down the line. You want to plug your socials?
Sure. Like I said, all I have is YouTube. It's Dadu does whatever that is. It's a long one. It's a long one. I know.
Yeah.
But it
All
should
right.
be easy to find.
Well, we look forward to watching your journey, and we'll see you in the comment section.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having
Later.
us, man. That was fun.
Yeah, no problem. All right. That was it. So we had on some guests, people from the comment section recently to discuss their journeys and see where they're at and what they've been up to and where they're going. I hope you enjoyed it. And there will be no after show this week because this one ran a little long, probably about an hour and a half. So we're going to call that the after show this week. And then I don't really have anything for an after show. It's just me. And I don't think these guys want to hang around much more. They're all shaking their head yes, but I think we're going to go. All right. It was a lot of fun. And as always, remember you can support us over on Patreon. Find us at Off the Cut Podcast. Find us on all the socials. Search Off the Cut Podcast. You'll find us there. And till next week, we'll see you around. And we'll be back next week with Eric, Zac, and myself. Later.